Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bob Christenson. I'm Controls Product Manager here with the Chore-Time Group, and I'm going to spend a couple minutes today talking to you about data management and CTB Synergy solution. Today's topics, we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of data acquisition and management. We're going to talk about some of the challenges we see out there at both poultry farms and processing plants about collecting data. We're going to introduce the CYNERGY Data solution. That's part of a CTB-wide solution. And we'll go over some current CYNERGY applications that Chore-Time and other groups within CTB will currently have available. The importance of data acquisition and management. This is really something that has continued to increase over the last several years. People are wanting data, they're wanting information, they're wanting to do things with that. The need for that data continues to increase dramatically. With that data, we can get current status of what's happening either on the farm or with processing equipment, or in certain situations with grain information, grain data, grain condition. As we collect that data, we can see historical performance. We can go back and look, how did we do in this last flock? How did we do with this last processing run? What happens at certain times of the year? All kinds of information. Once we have that historical data, we can start to analyze it and apply some algorithms to it to start predicting what could happen. It's called things like predictive maintenance, predictive performance, predicting bird weights. That's all information that can move on from there. And then once we have that, we can start to make real-time adjustments either within our own poultry houses or at the processing plant or wherever that we may have the information that we're bringing in. Connectivity is becoming much more available in rural areas, both in the United States and around the world. Even 5 years ago, there wasn't that much available internet in places at poultry farms or even in certain smaller towns. But that is changing dramatically over the last several years. Some of the challenges we have when we're trying to collect data. What data should I collect? That can be really, really overwhelming because as you start to talk to someone who's knowledgeable about data collection, they'll start to list off, well, we can collect this and we can collect that. And all of a sudden you can be like, well, where do I start? Usually we like to recommend start with just 1 or 2 points. A couple things you'd really like information on. Start collecting that, analyzing it, see what you want to do with it, and then build upon it. How is the data uploaded and accessed? Obviously, it needs to be secure. That's always a huge topic from anything, whether it be our personal information that's on our cell phones or PCs or data that we want to push up at farms or processing plants. It all needs to be handled in a secure and good way. It also needs to be straightforward. It needs to be able to be easily set up, selected, and then we start pushing data up there. Gathering data from the source. Again, knowing that we are gathering good information. In a poultry house, is our temperature sensor placed in the right location? Or is it too high or too close to a heater or too close to an inlet? If it's in a processing plant, are the sensors or what we're trying to monitor really what we're trying to get the information on? So you really need to make sure as you start to gather data that you're getting it from the location and from the source that you want it to. And then, of course, as I just mentioned, connectivity reliability. Even though it is getting much better at farms in rural areas, there are still places in the world where internet connectivity is not very reliable, if available at all. So what's CTB's solution? We have introduced a product called CYNERGY. So CYNERGY is a cloud-based repository of data collected from all kinds of CTB systems. So that could be a poultry house, that could be a processing plant, that could be a grain location, anything that is part of the CTB family of products, we could have data collected from it with the repository tool. Data in the cloud is secured by means of client certificates issued by CTB. And then customers and partners can be granted access to only their data and the data that they're allowed to see by use of an external API. Partners can also access this data that we have to offer additional add-on options, things like the predictive maintenance that I talked about earlier. We implemented what's called Industry 4.0 principles into the data solution to help us, to give us a platform that we can grow with. So we're going to use things like AI, machine learning, and cloud computing to drive continuous improvement and profitability. Digitally connected products and services create value for CTB. That's, again, some of our development partners, things like the predictive maintenance and things like that are available for you that can help. And then it can serve as a platform to collaborate with ourselves, with other partners, and with you as the data owner to see what we can do with that. So what does all this mean? It means that we have created a platform to securely upload data from Chore-Time systems, from mine systems, cabin plant, and eventually other systems like Brock, all part of the CTB umbrella, to be able to push up to a common place where then that data can be accessed and evaluated. This illustration kind of shows the flow of the data. So down here you've got your source of the data. So down with like Chore-Time, we're at the poultry farm level here. We have our controls with the Chore-Time mobile server. If we're on the manufacturing side, we have our company, CTB company's cabin plant and mine that handle more of the processing side of it. And then on the grain side, we have Brock, where they can monitor the grain conditions at feed mills and other grain. Then using what the CTB Connect tool, we can push that data up and eventually into the CTB cloud, also called the CTB Connect cloud. And then from there, it can be accessed either by data companies that can manipulate and report on that data, or you as a company that's collecting the data, if you have your own data acquisition and an analyzing system, can also pull the data in and analyze it. And then in the center here, we have Cat Squared, who was the architect of it. We'll get a little bit more with them in a minute. They have access to all this data to offer their line of processing products that they've had for several years. So let's go over a few of the Synergy applications that are currently available today. You can see we have underneath the line, we have as part of the Industry 4.0, we have ourselves at Chore-Time, Cat Squared, Mine, and Cabin Plant, and there will soon be other CTB companies that will be adding their portion of this so that they also will have data available. So let's talk about Cat Squared. Cat Squared is the company that was the architect behind the Synergy platform and the CTB data collection tool. They have a vast variety of software solutions that they can now tap into the data that's part of the CTB Connect tool and the Synergy platform to be able to properly analyze, mostly on the processing side. Cat Squared is heavily involved on the processing side. They work really closely with Mine and Cabin Plant to have their software solutions, but they're also working with us to offer more solutions at the farm level as well. If you'd like more information about them, you can visit their website or go see their booth. Cat Squared, Mine, and Cabin Plant together all have what's called the Synergy Tunnel, I believe, over in Building C, and they have a lot of detailed information on what the CTB Synergy platform would be like. Mine and Mine Connect. Basically what their Mine Connect platform is doing, it's bringing all that data that is available at processing plants into one single user-friendly application via the CTB Synergy platform. It allows all the information that was scattered around and in some cases manually entered to be brought into one location and be monitored on real time. This is a really valuable tool for preparing daily production schedules in your processing plant. It helps you get ahead of it. For more information, there's also Mine's website on the Mine Connect, and they also have their booth in Building C, I believe, right close there to them. Here's some of the information that Mine can connect. So this is a sample layout of a processing floor, and you can see we've got all kinds of information that data can be collected on, both inbound from sensors and then outbound with information that can come from there. Okay, Cabin Plant. Cabin Plant is a company within the CTB umbrella that does a lot with food packaging. So they're able to take, after it's been processed, come out, put it into different packaging products, sometimes mix it with other products that come in and put it together. They also then have added sensors to things like their sealer, their checkware, their scale system, their distribution tool, and that by giving that, they can give real-time information as to how that product is performing. So like I said, they're kind of after the processing phase when things start to get packaged up and moved on. And you can see, again, they're also over in booth C if you want more information on that. Okay, now, I've talked about some of our sister companies with that. What's Chore-Time doing with this CTB Synergy and data collection tool? We're using our mobile app and our mobile server that connects, along with the CHORE-TRONICS 3 and future controls, to be able to push data up into the cloud. So here's a flow of the data. We start here at the farm with the controls, and they're collecting data like temperature, humidity, water usage, possibly feed inventory, static pressure, humidity in the house, information like that. The gateway then, every 5 minutes or 10 minutes, will then pull that data, pull it from every control, and then push it into the CTB Connect database, or what we also call the CTB Cloud. From there, it can be accessed by any data acquisition and analyzing company you choose. We've got a few listed here that we've already worked with, but what we found here on the farm side of things, that there are companies out there already that do a lot of work on data analyzing, and we just need to make sure that we had an easy and secure way for them to access that data if their customer so chooses, to be able to bring that data in. So on the mobile server screen, you can see we've got a wide variety of data that we can pull. Anything from temperature data to mortality, bird weights, water and feed, output status, alarms, environmental data, so things like CO2 or NH3, and then different run times of equipment. As I mentioned, you see this, there's a lot of information that can be pushed out there. And it can be very overwhelming if we just clicked on everything and sent it out. So it would be our recommendation that if you're interested in pushing data out from the farm, start simple. Start with something like bird weights and water consumption, or temperature and water usage, something like that. Get that data pushed up there, see what you want to do with it, and then go from there. You can always add on to it. You can always add on to it. Once the data is up in the cloud, like I said, it can be accessed by any data management system out there to be able to be analyzed and transformed into a valuable tool that you can use to evaluate how your farms are performing. So we're not generating those charts and graphs directly, because as we found, most of our customers that are going to make use of this already have a data company that they're working with, and we just need to make sure that we can make that data available securely so that they can only see their data from their farms to be able to evaluate it and push it out there. So that's what we did, and these are, as I said, these are some of the companies we've already worked with, both within the United States and outside of the United States. So, and we have documentation. If you have a data company, or you yourself have your own data software platform that would like to use, we can talk about that and talk about how we can get you connected up and pulling data in from your farms. If you'd like more information on that, you want to contact your local Chore-Time sales manager, or you can come see me after this presentation. I'll be happy to talk more with you about it. And also, as I mentioned, if you're interested in some of the other CTB Synergy platforms from our other companies within CTB, like mine and Cat Squared and Cabin Plant, go visit Building C and their booths, and they have a whole section on Synergy and what it can do for you, and they'd be happy to talk to you about that. I want to thank you for your time today and listening about our Synergy platform. As I said, if you have any questions, come see me afterwards and be happy to discuss them with you. Thank you very much.